Alright, hello. A little video on U2. U2 War. This album has an interesting song on it. And it's interesting that the song is referencing also back to this album War. And anyway, what I'm going to show you is some symbolism with this, and a number jump with a song, and another idea with this song. Okay, so the song obviously is Sunday Bloody Sunday, and what I want to say about that is there's this interesting idea of rebirth with the idea of Bloody Sunday. Okay, the day of the Son, the day of Jesus. Okay, and the idea of blood flowing again, blood coursing through our veins again as men. That idea of coming alive again, right? Resurrection. Obviously, there's a certain amount of blood flow when the female gives birth. Okay, when the female returns back to a normal cycle. Okay, and what I'm linking this to is the idea of the Colorado River flowing freely again. Okay, and so this is the Red River. Okay, I've got this little piece highlighted on Colorado River. The name Colorado derives from the Spanish language for colored reddish. Okay, and it says due to its heavy silt load. This is kind of interesting that this has got this river, you know, that the mud traveling down through it is coloring it, because there's a nice little link with U2 and the canyon, you know, because of course the Colorado River flows through the Grand Canyon, and what do I want to say about it? This is the same river that is dammed by the Hoover Dam. Okay, so if the Hoover Dam were to break, then that would be the same as the Red River flowing again, if you like, flowing freely. Okay, in I Pet Goat, there's a reference to blood flow from the old whore. Okay, you've probably seen that image. And again, the idea of birth, giving birth, and that blood flow. Okay, and you will have seen this in The Shining, with the river of blood coming out of the elevator. Okay, there happens to be a little body. If you can see where my cursor is, Collative Learning is a good channel to go and look this one up. But there's a possibility that there is a body in this river of blood from the elevator in The Shining. The Shining is all about Colorado, and I've talked about it before in some of my earlier stuff. There's an awful lot of references, I think, to the Hoover Dam in here, and this is one of them. Now, if you notice the elevator, where the elevator dials are set, this one is at 1 and the other one is at 2 here. Okay, so again with the 211 coming up, this is extremely interesting. Okay, but this is the Colorado River here flowing from the elevator or the levee. It's just really interesting, isn't it? But anyway, going back to the U2 thing, I forgot my train of thought here. The Colorado River, right, in the canyon, okay, that is colored by the soil content of the water, right? I'm going to now link you back to U2 and this character here in U2, okay, Adam Clayton, because of course the Colorado River obviously has a ton of clay in it. That silt that's making the water reddish. Okay, Clayton, I love it. And of course, does a dam need explaining? But again, Clayton Ravine, Back to the Future 3. Again, this is the thing that Marty has to cross on the imaginary bridge that doesn't exist at that time. You know, it's a bit like the Last Crusade, where Harrison Ford has to go, Indiana Jones has to walk across over the canyon, between the two sides of the canyon. He can't see the bridge that's there. Okay, so it's a leap of faith. So it's believing again in, or coming to a realization of the truth of God. Anyway, so this is really interesting with this character. Now I'm going to go to a personal reference here, because this really stuck out like a sore thumb for me, because I had always thought that everybody from U2, all the band members, were all from Ireland originally, you know, born and bred in Ireland. But it turns out that two of the cast members there, two of the members, this guy is actually from a neighbouring village of mine, okay, which I didn't even know. He's actually from Chinner in Oxfordshire, okay. I went to school with a lot of people from Chinner. I actually partied a lot in Chinner when I was well, not a little kid, but you know, my teenage years. I even dated. I think my first girlfriend was from Chinner. And not to mention, so not only that, but I actually, growing up, the majority of my youth I spent playing rugby for Chinner Rugby Football Club. So even though it was not actually in Chinner, but the actual club originated from Chinner. So I got quite some interesting connections with Chinner. And again, this idea with Chinner, again, this ties back to my father quite heavily, you know, because he was the big influencer, you know, playing rugby when I was younger. So anyway, not only is this a very personal reference, right, with this location, but this date that he is born on as well, March the 13th, is an extremely important number in my life. Okay, that's what I'm just going to say, because I don't really want to discuss all my personal details with people, but this is an extremely important number. And again, Easter this year is the 31st of March, we're just reversing that 13. So this is pretty immense, this whole thing with the Back to the Future, with Clayton Ravine, you know, going across the canyon, which is Clayton Ravine, the river that is maybe carrying an awful lot of clay sediment, to cause it to be a red color, may start flowing again if a certain dam was to break. Okay, so this is really important with U2, because if we go to some ideas behind the U2 now, let me show you this. And it's funny that we're doing this on YouTube. Let's go to this. So I just did a really dodgy kind of some diagrams here to try and explain this, but U2, yeah, if I just do this, look, if we want to make U2, right, let's just start at the bottom here. We can just put this, we can just join this up here with an arch. Okay, you seeing what this is? This is, you know, again, this is like man on wire. The number 11, or two buildings, two towers, and then a wire between the two, balancing that thing. Or if you'd like, an arc balancing that thing as well, an archway. Okay, but the problem is, okay, what way up is the archway? Are we trapped in that thing, yeah, like that, or are we out of the thing like that? Are we stood up on top of the arch, or are we inside the thing? Okay, same symbolism, two different ways of looking at it. But anyway, U2, you can see what I was thinking with the, well, it's just a 112 reference to Super Bowl Sunday, to today actually. Okay, so what I was also thinking with U2 is it does sound a bit like if you were to say Pluto, obviously Pluto, the TO on the end is a 2 on the end of Pluto. So Pluto and Pluto, I was just getting this kind of, it just phonetically was kind of gelling for me a little bit, somewhat. I know that people say it's a bit of a fudge, but you can see what I was trying to do there with this whole Pluto return thing. I thought that was really interesting. Okay, so that's where I was going with the symbolism with U2, is that in fact maybe it's just a hidden in plain sight. All you've got to do is put the little smiley face in there, um, and then we've got U2 right in plain sight, the 112. And again, we're going to go to a song here in just 1 second, which is Sunday Bloody Sunday. Okay, the song. And why are we going to Sunday Bloody Sunday? Because Super Bowl Sunday is the day I'm thinking the Hoover Dam might collapse, and that river of blood might start flowing again. Okay, the same as coming back alive, the blood flowing through your veins again. Instead of being dead, blue bloods, okay, now you become red blooded again, alive. So again, if we look at some of the stats on the actual song Sunday Bloody Sunday, which is actually a song written about an event in Irish history, okay, during the Troubles over there, okay, but we'll look at that in just a second. We've got a March the 21st date, so a 321, which again is key with that I don't even know how you say that, palintropic number of that concerns the Hoover Dam, the finishing of the Hoover Dam, okay, which was the 30th of September. In fact, if I just go here, I can write these down for you so you can see them a little bit easier. But we were going from the 30th of September, okay, 1935, through to 9/11, okay. And again, this is kind of interesting with this P in here and the, you know what I mean? But we were going through from that date through to 9/11 of this last year, 2023, 223, okay, and that was 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 days, okay, and there's an importance to that number for the end of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle. Back to the I don't want to make this video too long, but back to the chart of Lorraine. If you're new here, you'll have to backtrack a few videos to kind of figure out what the chart of Lorraine is and how I use it in my decodes. But this number is to do with the end and beginning of a new cycle. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is if we take the other date for the Hoover Dam, which is it's the first of March. Okay, so 3/1, 1936, and we do that same number jump right here, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it takes us to this date. Okay, this year takes us to the 11th of February this year. So that is what is important about that 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3 number, right? Anyway, if we come, it's interesting, it's Windmill Lane. That's kind of like another little reference for myself. And also in Back to the Future, the windmill is the point of no return. What's also interesting is this 44 reference here with the length of the song. 44th day of the year is 213, and 213 is really the date. Really, 211 and 213 are very closely tied together, and that's all comes back down to some of the work in the chart of Lorraine as well. And if you look at the dollar bill as well, 9/11 and 213 are closely tied together as well, and reference each other in the dollar bill. So there's a lot more to this than, you know, just there's a little bit of depth to this whole thing anyway. So what else do we have going on with also like Bono, with the whole thing with the Skull and Crossbones 322, and the whole thing with the eclipse this year with the the 322 there. So, and the idea of Bones and Bono, okay, and obviously the Bono is the thing you get when you resurrect, okay, when you become erect, you get the Bono, and okay, and that is resurrection. That's becoming um, the erect man again. So where else do I want to go with this? I wanted to show you. I want to show you um, the actual Sunday, Bloody Sunday, the Bogside Massacre, right? We'll just look at the date on that, okay? And it was the 30th of January 1972, which I happen to have in here for. Well, we'll look at that in a second. Where is it? Oh, I need to look at that one as well with you in a second as well, and maybe even that one. Surely I've got it in here, don't I? I thought I had it in here. Oh, it's down here. Hang on. Okay, so here it is, the 30th of January, which was interesting with Dexter King the other day. That was the 30th of January happened to be his birthday as well. So that's another little nice tie back in. So the original Sunday Bloody Sunday Massacre, if we go from that date and we do a number jump up to today, this Bloody Sunday, it's 19,005 days. So there's a nice 195 reference. Okay, if you watch We Seek We Find channel, he's all about the 519. Okay, so this is really interesting because this again ties back in with the birthday song with Marilyn Monroe and JFK, which is sung on the 19th of May. What else does that tie into? And this also ties back into the Pluto return thing and the balance between the two dates that I think are important in that, which is the Queen's birthday as one orbital return, and Donald Trump's birthday is the other part of the orbital return in relationship to the founding of the United States of America on July 4th, 1776. So, again, what is interesting about this date is that this is the day after those. There's a balance point between those two dates. There's two balance points between those two dates. One is the 17th of November, okay, which ties in with Mickey Mouse. That's the Pluto Mickey Mouse thing that I go on about. And then we've got on the other side, between the two dates of the Queen and Donald Trump, we have the 18th of May. And the 18th of May obviously is the day after that is the 19th of May. So the midnight hour on the 18th of May may be an interesting reference point. I'm not sure without actually sitting down and looking at the number jumps a bit more closely whether it's which part of. I'm thinking it's actually just the whole day, so it actually would be lunchtime on the 18th of May, maybe. But anyway, if you were going to the next day, the 19th obviously is extremely interesting because of that switch over, like in the midnight hour thing. The same as the 10th through to the 11th, and so forth and so on. There's always that kind of that. In fact, actually, if you think about the switch over to the midnight hour as well, that is again 11:59 goes to 12. Okay, so 11:59 to 12 to 1-2, yeah, to 1-2. Okay, and 11:59 go into that number is pretty important with like the reset of the clock. So, the reset of the cycle even. So, same thing. So anyway, what else have I got on this Sunday Bloody Sunday? I think that's it, isn't it? I think we did the numbers on the song. Notice the next thing on is 40. The next song on is called 40. And what's interesting, if you do 40 days on from this date, which I thought I had in here, where is it? Here it is. So if we go 40 days on from this date now, what is interesting is it's Skull and Bones number again, 322. And that number is actually, I'll have to do a separate video on it, but if you go to the chart of Lorraine, this number is actually pretty important to do with balancing. Obviously, it's this, when we do with the switch over with the year now, this 322 is tying both the 18th of November and the 17th of November together as well with day of the year. So this is, again, it's super important, 322. What else have I got on this? Nothing. That's it. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Is it going to be a Bloody Sunday where the Hoover Dam gets a big crack in it and starts flowing? I don't know. Think about the films like Back to the Future with the river of pink ooze. Again, is that a reference maybe to the, that slime river that's flowing to the temple? Yeah, that's possessed. Again, and all that slime is flowing to that point. Yeah, all that energy is flowing to that point. Again, that's the Red River flowing to the dam. Okay. Another little thing to note as well is the hoverboard scene in Back to the Future 2. It's one of the things that got me really going into all this stuff. Again, I want to remind people that that scene is the Hoover Dam scene. Okay, there's a lot of little references. There's references to 633 Squadron, which is to do with the Dam Busters, and the Dam Busters is to do with the Death Star destruction with the trench run there. When Luke has to use the Force to blow up to shoot his proton torpedo down the hole into the hole for rebirth. You know what I'm saying? And the Death Star blows up. That's the dam blowing up. And again, the date that they go back to save, the date that Marty goes back to basically save his son, is he's going back on this date, October the 21st, which is Back to the Future Day. And again, if you just flip that October to the back there, this is a 211 reference right there on the actual day of that event in Back to the Future. Remember what happens in Back to the Future is that, let's just go to the chart of Lorraine real quick. This one with the clock tower in it. Okay, so this is the clock tower. Remember what happens is we've got one tower here, one column here, one column here, one column here, and one column here, and then we have the glass window right here that Biffin is, well, it's not Biff, it's Griff, that Griff busts through the window in. Okay, and check out the numbers here. Again, these numbers are 255 or 25, and now depending on the way you write the number 25, okay, obviously this is the outer bullseye in the dartboard. Again, that is the ring, the Vesica Pisces again, maybe. And again, if we write the 25, let's see how, if we write the 25 like this, okay, what we end up with, yeah, is a cup that is downwards, right? Or if we write 52, okay, so 52, if I join it up, you can kind of see what this is. This is an upward cup and this is a downward cup. And obviously, one's going to be full and one's going to empty, okay? So 25 and 52, important symbolism. I don't know if you can make that out with the cup there, okay? And again, this whole thing here with the Vesica Pisces, this is the fifth element, this is the fifth pillar, the one that we don't see, okay? And this is why it's the doorway, okay? It's anti-space there, or whatever, it's negative space, but that's what that's representing. That's the sort of monolith type idea there. So anyway, I think I've pretty much done that one to death, but I really wanted to just mention the whole thing with Adam Clayton, with the whole thing with Clayton Ravine in Back to the Future. Again, it's a personal reference for me, and the dude's name, Adam, I mean, I'm going to mention one thing very, very quickly, right? We've had kind of a family, I don't know, just this weird thing that's happened, and I'll do a separate video on this maybe, but my dad found out that he had a brother, basically. He basically found out that that side of the family is all messed up in terms of who we think each other is, in terms of, um, what I'm going to say, our relationship between everybody, within the family there is all changed, because turns out that my father has a long lost brother, basically, is what it comes down to, and that who he thought his nieces were are actually his sisters, and or half sisters, and it's all a big mess. But what's interesting about the whole thing is my sister's doing some, because this long lost brother shows up, they decided to double check and do the DNA test on it all. So they are half brothers, right? Turns out that my father has a different father. My father has a different father to this long lost brother as well. And my sister's been doing this research, and she said, you won't believe this, but the closest people that I can find, guess what the surname is? And I'm guessing all these random names, and of course she pipes up, no, the surname is Adams. Okay, that's the surname of the closest matches that she can find, to my father's, long lost father, I guess now. So again, I don't, this is just crazy, absolutely crazy stories coming about right now, just in my own life as well. So now it turns out, potentially, I might have some kind of relations that are Adams. Okay, it's just mental. I don't know what else to say about it all. I'm leaving it there. Yeah, we've done everything for the Sunday Bloody Sunday, but this is the Colorado bursting from the levee. Okay, and I don't know, maybe this is ominous here as well, with the war on the album that's on. So I don't know. Anyway, talk to you later. Cheers, bye.